Thanks for joining us in the Team Afterburn Fitness Studio for the workout of the week. Helping me demonstrate our workouts today is the lovely Rachel. Today we're going to be doing 3 circuits. Within each circuit, we're going to have 2 exercises which will be supersetting back and forth for 5 total rounds. 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, meaning 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest. For those who are a little more advanced, look at doing 45 seconds work and 15 seconds rest. Stand by for a kick butt workout. You know, our members and guests get a fitness experience of a lifetime, but we would like to be able to offer that same experience to any viewer who tunes in. Kicking off Circuit 1, Workout 1, is the single arm dumbbell overhead press. Now for 30 seconds, Rachel is going to complete from start to finish an overhead dumbbell press. She's bringing the dumbbell just below 90 degrees with her elbows, and she's going up as high as just shy of elbow lockout, keeping those joints nice and soft. She exhales on the exertion or the hard part of the movement, and she continues moving through her time frame of 30 seconds on. She's strengthening shoulder muscles here, obviously. She's getting a little bit of tricep as she extends her arm in the upright position. Finishing exercise 2 of Circuit 1 is the medicine ball Woodchopper. Now this is a core movement. She has to maintain her stability while moving through a range of motion that incorporates a little bit of her shoulders and some of her muscles, but she's actually keeping her body in position quite nicely, activating that transverse abdominis, those core muscles that's going to keep her back strong, her abdominals tight, and obviously for good posture. Starting off, exercise 1 of Circuit 2 is an alternate kettlebell row. Now notice Rachel is alternating her kettlebell rows. She has a nice straight back. Actually, she has a nice little arch in her back. That natural S-curve prevents her spine from potential risk of injury. She's keeping the elbows nice and tight to her body. She exhales as she brings each one up. Exhale on the exertion of the movement. And she's really tensing here, and she's closing off that scapula, her shoulder blade area. So the movement in the back is key in actually working the back. It's not just flexion of the elbow. Finishing up Circuit 3, exercise 1 is a standard plank. Now a standard plank, her arms are going to be like pillars beneath her body, stabilizing the front end of her body, and of course she's on her toes. Now her body's nice and straight, but in all reality, she's actually going to bring her hips up just slightly to have a slight Roman arch. That's going to give her power and strength to her bottom side of her transverse abdominis. Now, this is challenging, and let's say you have difficulties getting into a plank position, or at least for very long. You can always come down to your knees, take a couple deep breaths, pop back to your toes, and do this for time over and over again as your planks get better. To add a little more dynamic movement, she can rock back and forth, almost as if she's peering over a fence, laying on the ground almost. She keeps that body nice and straight, but she's adding a little dynamic movement. If you happen to have a ball at your disposal, Rachel, a plank on the ball becomes a very powerful core tool. And to think, you're actually putting more weight on your feet. You would think it would be easier to maintain the stability, but because that ball is such an unstable surface, it becomes very difficult and challenging to maintain this. To make this even a little more difficult, Rachel can then do the forward and back with the ball as well. Even circular motions in some cases if she wants to add a little more flair. Give me a circle, Rachel. Oh yeah, I see that now. Other way. Awesome, very good. Finally, Circuit 3, Exercise 2, finishing up the exercise today is a basic standard ball hamstring curl. Now what Rachel does first is she brings her hips all the way to the top, as far as her body will allow, and she brings her heels to her butt. She centers her feet on the top of the ball, and she continues this movement again for 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Now she can add a little dynamic movement, make it more challenging by just doing a hip pulse. She throws that hip pulse in there, she's gonna get a little more glute in there. Now let's say you don't necessarily have a ball to be able to be used. We can simply do glute presses off the floor. Very good. Make sure you squeeze the glutes in this movement as well. Make it effective. If you don't have the tools necessary, you want to make sure you're squeezing those muscles. And you can even use a paper plate on a carpet with your feet. You can use towels on a hardwood. That way you can still get the slide if you don't necessarily have a ball. You can still work those hamstrings. Thank you for joining us today in the Team Afterburn Fitness Studio for the workout of the week. Thank you, Rachel, and come back next week and check us out for another kick butt workout.